Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, if such a thing exists. Welcome. Please pay attention to the following announcement from your streaming host. International streaming rules and regulations require me to provide the following information. I am on the Xbox Series S. I have the deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We will be flying the Junkers 52 3M-Retrofit departing from Mersa Matruh to Cairo. I am not taking requests for flights, nor to fly particular aircraft at this time. My flight schedule is created well in advance and is subject to change based on my own schedule. Good morning, Mick. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are vintage aviation flights. Tuesdays, jetliner regional and prop regional flights. Jetliner regional jet prop regional flights. Thursdays are military aviation flights. Saturdays are flights featuring the P-38 Lightning called Lightning Saturdays. And Sundays are our scenic flights. Any other information can be found in the description area below the video. Thank you for your attention. So we got a bit of a way to go today. Our first leg is 67 nautical miles to DBA, and then from there it's 161 nautical miles to Cairo. So let's get in here, get things started up so we can get in the air and be on our way. Hopefully everybody's having a good Monday so far. Hello, Jody. Nice to see you here. You're just in time for the startup. So we will be in Egypt for today, completely in Egypt, not flying into any other country today. All right, we are loaded with fuel. Never fails. All right, let's get that on. Go ahead and get our first DME dialed in, 1570 while the plane's starting up. All of our lights are on pretty much. Yep, doing good, Jody. Just, got these rude ass neighbors who every day without fail, in the morning and in the evening, their car alarm goes off because they either a squirrel or something brushes up against their car, and then they just a big old mess. Need to get that shit fixed. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be cursing, but it's just getting fucking annoying that they can't, you know, be considerate neighbors. Oh, you know what? No, it's okay. All right. Anyways, let's see. Tomorrow we will be in the Embraer 110. We are going from Houston, Texas to Mobile, Alabama. Should be a nice little flight tomorrow. And then on Wednesday we will take off from Cairo and head to El Gora, still in Egypt. It's pretty much a straight shot. 136 nautical miles to El Gora, although there's a short turn, 16 nautical miles to the airport, but that shouldn't be too bad. Thursday we'll be in the F-16 going from Randolph Air Force Base to Edwards Air Force Base. So Randolph is in the San Antonio area, so we're going from San Antonio to California. Friday we will be in the 170B going from Coral Creek to Zephyr Hills. That's in Florida. Saturday in the P-38 Lightning Victorville to King City. Sunday, no streams on Sunday. No streams. Just a quick reminder, if you're not on the Discord, just giving everybody a quick reminder of what's happening this week. So what I think we're going to do, we're going to taxi. This is the runway where we came in at, right down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taxi down there and then tell them we're ready for takeoff, so we can get right to our first. We want to go on a heading of 101. Hello, Amela. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Let's see what else. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got this week. All right. There's a VOR DME. Why don't we? Well, 67. It must be a low powered VOR DME. All right. I think we're just going to go ahead and go with that. Let's go over. Surprised Addie's isn't here yet. Must. Doggone it. I should have turned off the, he is drinking somewhere. That'd be kind of early for that. I would think. I mean, he probably was up late last night watching stuff on YouTube on his phone. That's probably what it was. I should have turned off the my co-pilot from talking to ATC once we got moving. Either that or he laughed himself silly so much last night in Jody's stream that he passed out. It's quite funny last night. Good times. Yeah, it was quite a lot of fun last night. Well, it was entertaining. It was you know, you got that field finished finally over there on Farm Sim. Got your got that contract done. Got your money out of it. I had a good weekend. I joined Captain Arish. He was teaching his partner Emma how to land the PMDG 737. So that was quite well. He basically taught her how to utilize the automatic systems to land it, like she was a passenger and the crew was incapacitated, and so he was instructing her how to make sure that the systems were all engaged to land. It was hanging up. Not my straight. Well, it was fun. I mean, well, like the whole thing about music and you not knowing who certain groups were. I mean, it's not uncommon, I think, for I don't want a west departure. I wanted a east departure or a south departure. I didn't even get to say which way I wanted to go. Maybe this is the way the plane's supposed to go. Yeah, I figured. Ooh, oh, wow. You took off way quicker than I expected. You can continue however you want. We are heading for Cairo. Alright, now we got our... No, it should be fine, Jody. It should be fine. We gotta go 101 here. No. Oh, should be no crashes here today. And we're over land, so we should be able to figure out where we are along the way if we need to. It's all good fun, and everyone, yeah, exactly. Calls it falling with style. There you go. Exactly, Mick. Mick knows what I'm about. Exactly, Mick. Exactly. No, we should be fine. Well, if I do, it's mainly down to just silly errors on my part that, you know, let me turn off my I don't need the taxi lights on now. Thank you, Mick. Putting the link to the Discord there in the chat. And again, it's not a there's not a chat or anything. It's just information about the flights coming up. Yes, I had ham sandwiches again last night. It was really hot yesterday evening. It was like, oh, it was miserable. So yeah, I had something kind of cool to eat. So. That look like a stadium or something back there? Yeah, it is. Huh. Some kind of a football pitch or something back there. That's what it looks like. I might be wrong, but it has the look of a stadium. Some kind. So yeah, we're just going to kind of hug the coastline here. Yeah, I don't like eating, like, I'll cook sometimes in the evening, but now that it's summertime, it's like, well, when I think about cooking, it's just, you know, the heat off the oven alone is just, it's a bit much, so. Let's see what else. So yeah, we got a pretty good week, I think, ahead here on the sim. Plenty of interesting things happening, I think. And then before we know it, it'll be June. On the 30th, we will be taking the F-14B, the VX-9 Playboy livery, from Hunter Army Airfield to Joint Base Andrews for Memorial Day. 31st, we should be able to fly the ERJ-170 from London City to Nantes Atlantique for a little flight there. Hopefully that should go well. On the 1st, we will go from El Gora to our Rutba. Now that is the flight that will be, there's no navigation aids at all. There's no VORs or anything for us to key into. So when we take off, it's just going to be a straight shot for however long it's going to take for us to get to our route. But that's in Iraq, I believe. If I remember correctly, it's just on the western border of Iraq, or just over the border into Iraq. It's not the sim it exists, but in any other place right now, there's no information really as far as warning fish guns, any kind of way for me to know which way to head. So we're going to have to use this little VFR map to kind of keep us on track. The 2nd of June, we will be in the Grumman the Goose. We are going from Iwanora International to St. Kitts. That should be a nice little flight on military aviation. Thursday, it'll be in the Navy liveried Goose. 3rd of June, we will be back in the C337H, the Skymaster. We'll be doing a flight over Italy as part of the from the World Update that happened for Italy. So we're going to pass over the stadium where Juventus plays, and we're going to head past a couple other things, and we're going to go towards the test track in Modena for Ferrari, and then we're going to call in over at in a town, it's Mantua, I think it is. It's a town in Italy where Tazio Nuvolari was born. Then the 4th, we will be in the P-38 Lightning going from King City to Burbank. And then on the 5th of June, our first scenic flight will be around Florence, Italy. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up. I think the flight there in Florence, Italy will be a good scenic. We're going to fly all around Florence and just check out all the new points of interest and whatnot. So yeah, it should be good. So 48 nautical miles to our first waypoint, and then we're going to turn just a little bit slightly towards Cairo for 161 nautical miles. So almost a little over double what we're flying already for this first waypoint. Ooh, wow. That's interesting. Look at that. Let's get a picture of the plane. That in the background before we... There's our Euchre 52. I really wish we get a few more liveries with this. At least the air, when it was operated as an airline, not of course as it was operated by the Third Reich, but just to have some actual Lufthansa, Deutsche Luft Hansa liveries on here would be amazing, I think. I think that's the window for the little loo in the back, maybe? I think it has an onboard bathroom. Oops. 43 miles, okay. Never fails. You know it's a Monday morning and everybody's pissed off by the fact that it's Monday, and they're probably mad that their favorite football team lost and they got to take it out on everybody else, you know. So they got to be driving all angry and revving their engines and shit. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Alright, take care, Milla. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by for a little while. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Fatties is here. He's quiet. Might have done him in last night. What's this sound? That's not too bad. Yeah, we're just cruising along here at about 2,600 feet. Yeah. We wore him out with all the laughter last night, I think. So let's see. So the next leg, it's going to take about 2 hours to get to Cairo on this next. Once we turn towards Cairo, it's going to be about almost 2 hours. Hopefully, we'll get there just a little bit quicker. We'll see. Yes, for those of you who are on the Discord, I posted a picture of the F-14 that I flew Saturday when I joined Captain Arish's flights with Emma. That was pretty fun. was a good time. I think we're picking up the flight again over in Australia today. I didn't fly Wednesday with them when they left the last bit of Tasmania, heading back to Australia, so get things back up with them on tonight, hopefully. Really liked yesterday's flight. That was nice, flying around the north of Spain. Managed to. Well, I gotta post those clips too. I almost forgot about that. I'm gonna make those shorts for YouTube. Oh, and Mick, I posted a link there in the Discord for you about the same guy who did the thing of with the shuttle, the tour of the shuttle, did this one of the B-52 bomber. So I thought maybe you'd like that. I always kind of feel like the B-52 is the heir apparent to the B-17. You know, this big bomber. I can't believe it's going to fly all the way. It will be almost 100 years. By the time it retires, it will have flown almost 100 years. That is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's insane to think that it when he said it's going to remain operational to like the 2050s. I'm like, dang, that's whew. It's insane to think that it will have lasted that long. While as lots of other aircraft have come and gone in the Air Force inventory. Well, I got 5 viewers over on the Posh channel. See, everybody's doing well over there on Twitch. Nice to have you along for the flight. We took off from Mersa Matruh, and we are heading to Cairo in Bunkers 52, 3M-Retrofit, with all the fancy-dancy navigation equipment here. This is a KLM route that originated from Amsterdam, and it goes all the way to former Dutch East Indies, now known as Indonesia. We were flying in the Fokker F-7B, but the flight model is not as not up to snuff. Yes, Carl, this is live. It says live. I believe it is live. It is not a replay. It is not a. So yes, this is live. Actually, I'm surprised. Well, I think pretty soon the F-15 will eventually be retired. Although I can't imagine anytime soon because it's still a pretty viable platform, aircraft platform. But now that the F-35s and the F-22s are, more of those are in service and everything. There's much more? 25 nautical miles. All right. We're heading to our first waypoint there. First navigation aid. You're still trying to download Sim. I don't know what to tell you about that. I wouldn't even know what pointers to give you about that. Sorry. Which is not a small in size. Yeah, I guess it depends on your internet connection and all that too. So yeah, on the first Sunday of June, we'll do a flight, or not a flight, before we go flying in Venice, we're going to take a run on the Northern Transpennine. We'll do a freight service there. Take about an hour to do, I believe. And it won't be the whole line. We'll be about halfway, and we're going to take the rest of it on to Manchester, Victoria, or something like that. So we're going to do that, and then we'll fly around Florence, I think. Did I say Venice? I meant Florence, Italy, not Venice. Florence. That'll be on the 5th of June. Let's see what else. And then on the 12th, we'll do a run on the Peninsula Corridor, since I don't think Jody, have you watched any of the videos that I've done on Peninsula Corridor on TSW2? What do you think of it? If you've watched it again. Yeah, we'll do a run on the Peninsula Corridor on the 12th. We'll do a baby bullet service, even though I think I've done just pretty much all the services with the baby bullet. We'll do another one just for fun. We'll do a limited stop service or something. Alright, so we should be nearing, we got 18 nautical miles to go. Oh, that's fine. No worries. Whenever you can. I remember you said you were, and I didn't know if you'd watched even one of them yet. But yeah, Mick will tell you. When I first did those routes, he said he had his notepad out, and he would take notes of all the stuff I would point out along the way on Peninsula Corridor. He might have ran out of notepads. He took so many notes. But if not, if you haven't watched them yet, don't worry about it. We'll do I'll do a live run on the 12th of June. Then you can have a look at the baby bullet, because the stock, the train that comes with the route, the locomotive and all that, it's got that lap brake system, so it's a bit it takes a bit of time to learn. But if you get the baby bullet, it's pretty much straightforward. It just looks complicated, but the braking is a lot better and all that kind of stuff. So, and just looks a little bit sleeker. But yeah, we'll do a run from San Francisco down to San Jose, a limited stop service. Seems kind of... I don't know why it's like that. It almost seems like this is a salt. No, it doesn't look like it's a desalination area. You can extract the salt from the water and then... They used to have those in California. I don't know if it's... I don't think they still... There was one, I remember, right by the San Mateo Bridge. Yeah, it was the San Mateo Bridge. There was one near there on the East Bay side, I remember correctly. All right, we're almost to our first waypoint. We will track a little bit to the right. We'll be on our way to Cairo. So yeah, the Fokker F7 was just not working according to plan. The flight model was just all kinds of goofed up. So hopefully, if it ever gets patched, we will return to it. But in the meantime, we will. I forgot to put all the fancy signs on. You can't even call the attendant. So we'll, excuse me, we'll make our way as best as we can in the Junkers 52. In the meantime, they got the call from KLM to continue the services. Now, originally, for those of you who don't know, who've not watched me do these flights, it took them 7 days to do a flight from Amsterdam all the way to what is now known as Indonesia. They would fly, land, refuel, either drop passengers off, take more passengers on, take mail or whatever, drop some cargo, accept cargo, and then they would continue on. It was almost like a vacation in a way, and predominantly this was all business people who were going to the former Dutch East Indies. They had, business there to conduct. But along the way, so let's say it was near evening time, it was close to sunset, and you arrive in Cairo, you would stop there for the night. You would go into downtown Cairo, experience the local culture, the local cuisine. Maybe if it was still light out, you could maybe go on a quick tour trip, maybe run over to see the pyramids and stuff like that. And that was all part of the selling, the advertising of the time for KLM was to talk about all those sorts of things, as far as what would you expect to have or to happen once you got to your destination for the evening. And as soon as it was all VFR flying. If the weather was really overcast, they would not fly. If there was any kind of storms or whatever, you would basically be there for another day or so until the weather cleared up. They would have to take off as soon as it was light enough to be able to see, and then they would fly until they got to because there was no nighttime navigation. They had to rely on visual references in their charts and say, okay, we know exactly where we are. And it was very rudimentary flying for the time period, I think. All right, there's our first nav point. So as soon as we pass that, we will dial in our next. Well, that's not too much of a change, really. We only have to change the number on this side. So as soon as we do that. But also one of the things when I was researching this flight, because I did the Lufthansa flight from Berlin to Athens. That was an actual Deutsche Lufthansa route in the 1930s. A lot of the places that we're going to land eventually are some of them the places are no longer in existence. Like the airfields are just gone, for various reasons. In other cases, they have been converted to air bases or airfields for military use only. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes to be able to find information on the airport itself, because all that in certain areas they won't, the navigation websites like Navigraph or even SkyVector, there's no information available on those airfields because the governments of those countries do not want anybody else knowing about what any kind of information that could be used. All right, we are on our way to our next. All right, here's the longest part of the trip coming up now. Didn't swap over. That one we might have to get a little bit closer before it picks up. Let me look here. One 520. Okay, yep, that's correct. All right, so that's all. Yeah, it may not be. We may have to get a little bit closer before we pick up signal again. Hello, Patrice. How are you? Nice to see you here. Now on our second and final leg to Cairo. Well, there's Chris, who's going to let me beat them up. I don't know that anybody's going to let you do that, Chris. How are you? Hello, Addies. Welcome. We've been waiting on you, Mr. Addies. Where have you been? No, that's not me. It's business. Mick Arjodi. What? Oh, Addies. You and your fast fingers typing on your phone. I got a redeem code on Jason's and there was an error trying to set the account up. I'm not impressed. Oh. Oh, that sucks. So what, you won like a drawing or something and you went to put the code in and it's not working? I'm guessing that's something that Jason's gotten from a company or something and thought that it was going to be legit, and maybe it's not so legit. I don't know. It's that sucks. That's a good question too, Mick. Yeah, that's a good question there. Well, because if he sent it to you directly, it's not like somebody could have seen it and then snagged it, put it in before you did, or maybe he did send it to somebody else and forgot to update his list. Sneaky people will do sneaky things, unfortunately. Especially if they're going to get something for free. 3 months free iRacing, and it worked right up to the credit card details. You might have to call your bank then if it's not. It may be something on their end because usually my experience has been that your bank automatically, or your credit card company, thinks that it's a scam. Oh, yeah. I wonder if somebody did everything before you did then, Chris. Like if they... Oh, yeah. I bet you somebody found a way to nick it from you. It wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, if you got there, but if it's a credit card thing, then it may be your credit card company itself. But I would check with them to make sure that they're authorizing you to do the whole thing, because sometimes they may see those as scams, so they may not give you the. That may be why there's a hang up on it. That's my guess. But it may not. Even if he tells Jason might not be able to do anything. I would check with your credit card or your bank company, whoever you get to use that card through, and see if that's what the problem is. That'd be my first guess. Otherwise, but if somebody nicked it, then it wouldn't have let you get that far, I don't think. Shouldn't. Sometimes you never know. There was a VOR DME, I believe. It shouldn't be anything but. Let me look at that list again. No, it says VOR DME. It must be. We must have to get a lot closer. But yeah, that'd be my suggestion, Chris. I would start there, and then hopefully it'll sort itself out after you talk to your financial institution. Sound all posh and stuff. Somebody, who is this? Hello, Skip. How are you? I just noticed. Sorry, I just noticed somebody had posted something over on Twitch. Hopefully you are well. We are on our way to Cairo. We just passed our first waypoint, but we don't have our VOR DME signal yet from Cairo. So we are just going to keep on keeping on. At least we're not over the water. We can kind of track our progress a little bit easier this time if necessary. But this leg will be about 2 hours long. Yeah. That's a good idea, Chris. It could be on iRacing's end that maybe there's a problem with their website or something that takes all that information. So, well, we had 10 viewers. I was just getting ready to give the quick rundown of what we're doing and a little bit about the channel. So for those of you who are watching, if you aren't keenly aware of what's happening here, I am on the Xbox Series S. I have the deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are flying the Junkers 52 3M Retrofit with all the special upgraded navigation systems, the DME equipment there, and all that. We took off from Mersa Matruh and we are heading to Cairo. I am not taking requests for flights, nor for me to fly specific aircraft at this time. The next viewer requested flight will be on the 17th of June. On the 10th, I will ask for a flight, one flight, first come, first serve, roughly 3 hours in length. And then, so there'll only be one flight on the 17th. On the 18th, we'll have a multiplayer flight. Also on the 6th of June, we will open up the multiplayer lobby. We're going to do a flight in the P-38 from England to Normandy for the anniversary of D-Day. So if you want to fly with me on that day, you're more than welcome to. I'm not sure which server I will use. Whichever one is the most stable, we'll know the day of. My flight schedule is created well in advance and is subject to change based on my own schedule. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are vintage aviation flights. Tuesdays, jetliner, regional jet, and regional prop flights. Thursdays, military aviation flights. Saturdays, P-38 Lightning flights. We call it Lightning Saturdays. Sundays, we have scenic flights. We just did a flight from Bilbao to Santander. We flew under a couple bridges just because we could. It was nice scenery otherwise. We just kind of flew around and enjoyed the scenery of northern Spain. Any other information can be found in the description areas, or if you have a question, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you as long as they are reasonable questions. Nothing personal, things like that. But hopefully I've answered the majority of the questions. I do have a PayPal if you want to donate. The donations will go towards aircraft in the future once they are released. Please be aware that I am on the Xbox. Don't forget that. What is available for the PC is not always available for the Xbox. So, and I cannot go to a third-party site, download it, and then add it to my Xbox. It is not possible at this time. So please don't think that that's, who can I beat up? Well, I don't know, Chris. Certainly not me. Oh, there we go. Now we're picking up our, okay, 136 nautical miles. So we've done about 50 nautical miles already. 50, 51, 56, 55, 56, almost 57 nautical miles so far. So we have 100, let's say 136. No. So about another hour and a half to go, roughly. Where's Glenn? Probably at work. I'm sure he'd rather be elsewhere, but he's probably at work right now, I would imagine. So yes, donations on the PayPal. If you donate, those will be for future aircraft, not airports or sceneries or anything like that. It'll be strictly for planes that are in the, once they're released and I know that they're stable, not filled with, now, speaking of that, what is it that's coming? The Honda Jet will be released on the PC on the 31st, so 8 days from now, about a week from tomorrow, and then they expect either that week or maybe the next week it will be on the Xbox. So hopefully we will. That is something that is a corporate jet sort of thing that we can add to the flights on Tuesdays. Apparently, if I was watching Two-Tone Murphy talk about it, and apparently this has been in development for, was it somebody? No, it wasn't Two-Tone Murphy. Somebody I was watching, they were saying that this has been in development for like 3 years. So it'd be a nice addition to the Microsoft Flight Simulator. To the sim in general, I think. Wait, no, it was yeah, we are not 50 something. We did 30 something nautical miles already. I thought, for some reason, I thought 50. Anyway, so yeah, we're doing pretty good. Only time I need him and he pretends to work. Well, I'm sure he would say he's not pretending. Well, I don't know. Maybe he is. He just probably goes in and moves some papers from one side of his desk to the other, types a few things on his computer that doesn't make any sense, and he goes home for the day. So, but yeah. Right here along the coast of Egypt. Making our way to Cairo. Once we land, we'll be wrapped up. That sounds like Glenn, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, when I used to work like in an office kind of environment, you knew how much time you really needed to get your job done, and it wasn't the full 8 hours. So you would do some work on the actual project, and then you would kind of, you know, shuffle things around. Or one of the bosses I used to work for years ago in Oakland, he would say, "I see a lot of movement," and that was his way of saying, "I see you moving around, but I don't see any results." So, like if I would, that was when I was working for the company that did the aerial photography. Like we were doing a whole digital photo mosaic of the state of Missouri, and you know, I would, especially when we would get the next chunk of photos and all the information that would go with it. You know, sometimes I would go back over to another department to that, you know, that received the information from the U.S. Geological Survey, and you know, to verify some things. And so my boss would, you know, my immediate supervisor, I guess, would say, "Well, I see a lot of movement," and I'd be like, "Well, I'm going over it because there's some issues that I'm trying to get resolved," because my boss was always handling other things within our small department. So I just would go, you know, try to get the answers that I knew he would be seeking anyway. So, yeah, he see a lot of movement. Well, we have a love-hate relationship. We love to hate each other. But yeah, I remember. I always remember that was his way of saying, "I think you're screwing around and charging the company for it." There's the systems and everything, the way that we were doing it was not perfect, and so I would, once I knew kind of what to look for, you know, the imperfections, so to speak, I would just go and try to find the answers myself, so that he could focus on other things. But apparently he wanted me to check in with him all the time. But then he would be like, "Well, why are you bothering me with this?" You know, it's like you can't win for losing. I never liked working for bosses like that. That just, you know, you ask them a question, "Well, you should be able to figure this out yourself." And then when you try to go figure it out yourself, then it's like you're screwing around. You know, He was a brilliant programmer, I think, because he was the one that wrote the whole code that allowed us to do what we were doing with the photos once they were digitized and scanned in, I should say. But his people skills were less than ideal. Plus, he was the one that had he grew his own habanero peppers. He'd make his own habanero salsa. Whew, boy, that stuff will light your stomach on fire if you've never had it. Woo! You think sometimes some people say jalapenos are bad, but habaneros are whew. Whew, boy. I'm gonna crosswind keep bumping us around here. Big Goals, thank you for the subscription. Appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Just to give you a quick rundown of what's going on. We took off from Mersa Matruh and we are heading to Cairo. This is a route that was flown by KLM back in the 1930s when it would go all the way to what is now known as Indonesia. Back then it was a Dutch colony called the Dutch East Indies. So this was like a business travel sort of thing. It took them about a week to do because they would fly as long as they could throughout the day and then land for the evening, spend the night, and then hopefully continue on the next day to their destination, keep flying on. But roughly it would take about a week from start to finish. But I have broken it up into 32 separate legs in order to try to keep things in a reasonable amount of time for me to fly and for you all to watch. There's going to be some that are going to be about 4 hours in length coming up, but try to break them up as best as I could, as long as I could find a suitable airport nearby that I can, if it was like a 5-hour flight, if I could split it like a 3-hour flight and then a 2-hour flight. We won't do it all in one. We won't do several flights in one sitting. We're only going to do this on Mondays and Wednesdays. So this is leg 9 of 32. We were supposed to fly this last week on Wednesday, and then when Sim Update, or that's a World Update 9 was released, there was a lot of issues. They'd sent out a patch the other day. It seems like everything's fairly stable now. So we're back on track with that. Glad to have you along. Hopefully you enjoy this. We have 118 nautical miles to Cairo. So we are soon approaching. We're on a 161 nautical mile leg of this flight. So we are almost halfway there. No, you're fine, Chris. No, that is not the case. That is not the case. Don't even think that. No, no. The only one who's really quiet right now is Addie's, because he's probably trying to figure out if he wants to go to KFC or McDonald's for lunch. You're fine, Chris. It sucks that you've experienced that issue with the game after you had won the prize, I guess. I don't know, maybe for tomorrow's flight I'll come up with a story time. That was fun. I'm trying to find you some tissue. Mick. There's that tough love from Mick. You gotta love it. I don't know. I know the pyramids and everything will be to our right as we come into Cairo. I don't know if we'll be able to really see any details or anything like that. Now, I did do a flying tour of Cairo early on when I first started flying this, and we may have to go back and do another flying tour, I think, at some point. That is his love, Chris. You should know that by now. There's the if you ever seen the movie G.I. Jane, and there's that scene where they say, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" And everybody would say, "Well, what's the difference?" Well, if you're hurt, then you can take a moment, collect yourself, get over being hurt. But if you're injured, then you may require medical attention. And so, they would take you to a doctor or something, or a medic. So... I thought you went. Oh. Is there an airport somewhere near us then? Must be. I figured with all the laughing from last night, Nick, you would have already gone through the box tissue. Oh. Well, not only the tears of laughter, but the tears of surprise when Jody said she didn't know who Iron Maiden was. Oh. I'll never forget that. That was... I can only imagine the look of shock on Nick's face when you said that, Jody. Iron Maiden, who are they? That's okay. Heavy metal is certainly not for everybody. But I like how Adam called it angry music, which I mean, in a way it fits. Like, I knew a lot of people when I was deployed, especially in Iraq, Most people, that's, they would listen to that heavy metal stuff while they were working out because they would just get all pumped up. Or some people would listen to like the techno dance sort of stuff, but I knew a lot of people would listen to heavy metal because they were just like, "Rrr," and walked away from the PC. You're like, I just can't anymore. I can't do it. I don't know what to say. Or like when we go on a convoy, a lot of people would listen to that heavy metal just to get all amped up. I have Metallica. The Black Album is my angry music album. And it all, okay, I got a quick story time. So when I was at the community college as a student, I was nominated for the Chancellor's Award. And it's, the nomination itself is a pretty prestigious thing because you can put that on your resume, whether you're applying to another school or just your resume in general. You could say you were nominated for this award. And my department chair had nominated me, not so much, I think, based on, like, my academics were fairly good, but just, the amount of stuff that I'd done for the department, being available to help, like, especially in the fall semester when you have a lot of students who don't know where they're going. I would just sit out there. I would find a place and I would just sit there, and I'd, if somebody looked like they were lost, I would say, hey, where are you trying to... You could tell the look on somebody's face when they don't know where they're going. So I'd approach them and I'd say, hey, where are you trying to go? Well, I'm trying to find this class. So, okay, go down this hallway or go upstairs or go downstairs, or you're in the wrong building altogether. I'll show you where to go, kind of thing. And so I didn't know. I just got this, I think I got an email saying, congratulations, you've been nominated. And I was like, okay. Now, it wasn't like I don't remember if there was like an interview process or just like, they asked you some questions, and then so like overall they would pick, there would be a whole group of people that would be nominated for various reasons, either by an instructor or department chair. Oh, you're fine, Chris. Hang out. You're fine. I'm happy to have you along. I'm sorry again, like what I said, the situation that you're finding yourself in with this, you were all amped up for 3 free months of iRacing, and then all of a sudden it's not working. But anyway, so, I submit whatever they asked me to submit. I forget all what it was, and I probably have the emails saved somewhere. I don't remember, or I thought anyway. So I was a finalist, right? And so I'm like, okay. Now I really didn't expect to win, but I was like, it was like, hey, this would be pretty cool if I did, there's Glenn. You ask and you shall receive, Chris. There's Glenn. I don't know if he'll accept your diatribe from you at this point, but you could give it a go maybe. But anyway, so all of a sudden I get an email saying, no, it wasn't. I was a semifinalist, I think, and then I just got a blanket email saying, we're not going to consider. It's almost like you were applying for a job, and then you get this kind of a very bland email saying, that we're not going to consider your application any further. Thank you for applying. It was not that I had applied, but that I was nominated. So my nomination wasn't going to be considered further. So I was like, well, so me being me, I was like, well, what was it about me that made you decide? At first I thought it was an age thing because I was much older than the vast majority of the students, by a usually a fairly significant number of years. And I won't say by how many, but just, in general, I was much older than the student body. So I thought, okay, it was an age thing or whatever. And basically what it was that I was not I was not in charge of any club. And I was like, okay, well, stuff like that generally would go to the younger students because it's really for them to do all those things. Because if I try to do it, well, then I would be accused of trying to take something away from the younger students. That would be the first accusation or whatever. So lack of club membership I wasn't part of the photography club because the photography club hadn't been up and running at that point, I don't think. Or no, it was. I was like it was kind of a muddy sort of thing because I was working for the school, but I was also a student. It was like, where do I fall? What? Yeah, it didn't matter, like, all my military experience, the things, because I think that one of the things I put, like, when we went up to Alaska for 2 weeks, the first week alone, we helped out with the Winter Special Olympics. Stuff like that, like when we went to Panama for 2 weeks to help construct drainage for the roads that were built between 3 villages so they could trade and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a very it was like pulling teeth trying to get to the bottom of what was it about me as a person that made them decide not to elevate my application to the finalist level. It kind of soured me, and so once I figured out that the person who made the decision to not forward my application further along the process, for a long time I would listen to that song by Metallica called Unforgiven. Oh, for days, for weeks on end, whenever I was on campus, I would have my little earbuds in and I'd just be walking around listening to that song on repeat. Because to me the reasoning behind my nomination was dropped was just a load of bunk in my mind, and it was more about who. It wasn't so much about, I think, what. Now some people did bring some things, like there was one student, I guess his family was well off enough that he was able to create like a scholarship for other students, which I thought was cool, but there was just a lot of it was more about if you check certain boxes, and that was it. It wasn't about you overall as a person, your character necessarily. It was more that you just check certain boxes, and that that's all people were looking for. It was like they weren't judging you completely as a person, or not judging, but just looking at you as a whole person, not just a few narrow fields. So Oh, well, that's good that we're already talking to Cairo Center. That's a good. So we're roughly halfway to our destination. 88 nautical miles to go. So we're roughly at the halfway point. Because if you, the thing too is if you're awarded it, because it's based on different regions of the State University of New York system, the everybody who's like a finalist, I think, goes. They have a dinner in Albany with it wasn't a wait, what was it? It wasn't a chancellor. It was maybe it was. So whoever was the chancellor of the SUNY school system overall, you go to Albany. A bunch of people go, and you have this nice dinner and everything. And yeah, it was just a whole. But everybody's like, well, at least you should feel honored you were nominated, and it's true. It was an honor, but it's just like after that, it kind of got very political in a way, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to say it. It got political, and then it was just like, yeah, there was no. The deck was stacked against me in that regard. But I think I did a lot for the school and for other students, and like I tutored, and I always made myself available to try to help people who they didn't know where they were going on their first couple days, and I would just try to help out, but they don't see the little things. I guess that's the behind the scenes sort of stuff. Well, not so much behind the scenes, just the little things that do make it can make or break somebody's experience, I think, at any kind of a school, whether it be a community college or a university. That's just mine. I have a fan. Well, here's the thing, Glenn. Would you rather be Mr. Addies, or would you rather your fan club be Lucy? Which would you prefer if you had your choice? Or is it too close to call? All right, we are almost there. We got We are over the halfway point. So, again, once we get on the ground and we park it, we will wrap things up for the day. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 UTC, 12:30 UK in the Embraer 110, going from Houston, Texas to Mobile, Alabama. All right, fair enough, Glenn. So yeah, that should be a very. I don't think it should be a fairly quick flight, I think. And then Wednesday's flight from here till Algora is should be a bit shouldn't take very long to do. Oh, Monza is the daily. Got 11 viewers right now. Thank you all for coming in. We are on our way to Cairo. This is a KLM route originally, going from Amsterdam to the former Dutch East Indies, now known as Indonesia. We were flying the Fokker F-7B, but the flight model for that is not as good as it could be, so we popped over into the Junkers 52 to continue the journey. If there's an update, we'll try it again and continue on with the wherever we stop off at. We will continue on with the Fokker F-7B if we get to that point. Here's our lovely Junkers 52 3M. It's the retrofit with all the more modern navigation stuff installed. So we are 75 nautical miles away from Cairo, from the international airport. Coming in on runway 5 left. I guess I'm not holding enough people's interests on a Monday morning, afternoon, evening. Yeah, that first corner at Monza is just, that's a hot mess. There's always an accident, it seems like. I saw the results of the Spanish Grand Prix. Not to my liking, although, well, I shouldn't say that. I'm okay with the winner. It's the third place and the other place of Mercedes that I am not very keen on. That is bullshit. Bullshit. Mercedes needs to be investigated as far as I'm concerned. I smell cheating. I know that's not right, but I smell cheating from Mercedes. It smells a little too suspicious. But good for George Russell to go get ahead of Lewis Hamilton. I'll give him that. But now that Mercedes is entering the fray again, I am very concerned that they are going to reassert their frickin' dominance, and it's going to just ruin the season all over again. If there was going to be another team, I would have preferred it be McLaren that got back into the fray, not Mercedes. All right, cheers, Glenn. Nice to see you. Well, I know they sorted the car out. If there was going to be a third team that was going to get involved in the championship, I would have preferred McLaren or anybody but Mercedes. They just, I don't know. They are the villains of the sport, in my opinion, and they've earned that reputation, I think, rightfully so. And again, it's by their own design, you know. But yeah, I would have preferred to, if it was going to be anybody else, I would have, yeah, anybody but them to get to, you know. Like, I would have liked to see Haas, you know. They had the pace at first, but now they've kind of lost the narrative, I guess. Is the green Red Bull. Well, but they have a Mercedes engine. It's not like an actual Aston Martin engine. It's a rebranded Mercedes, I think. So, I mean, that's the thing, is Mercedes they have their factory team, they have Aston Martin, and they have McLaren. Oh, and Williams. They got 4 teams that they supply engines to. And the only one that seemed to get to grips with it early on was McLaren. But now, whatever they were doing, I bet you Mercedes is that, nope, we can't have you winning. We want the factory guys to do better. So, and Ferrari does it as well, you know, no doubt. That, you know, they don't supply the junior teams with an actual, you know, the same power unit as they have in their car currently, because they don't want the customer team to do better than the factory team. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Which is weird, because I thought the year before Racing Point was copying Mercedes in design. That was the accusation, was that they had copied a lot of the Mercedes design elements. And it wasn't like it was even, I don't think it was hidden very well either. Like, it was very obvious. If you compared them side by side, it was... But I mean, when the aerodynamicists are only limited, what else do they expect to have happen? You know, it's not like back in the days of the early 2000s where, you know, the bigger teams had an aerodynamic department that could come up with all kinds of little, you know, different things. So yeah, it's I don't know. Alright, take care, Patrice. Catch you later. Thanks for stopping by. 64 nautical miles to Cairo. Bit of a crosswind, it seems like, kind of bumping us around here. I don't know. I was enjoying the battle between Ferrari and Red Bull. You know, when they were going back and forth. You know, Charles would win and Max would win. You know, because it was just like, you know, it seemed pretty even. I wouldn't say even, but it was, you know. But yeah, now I'm worried that Mercedes is going to get back in there and they're going to screw it all up. You copied my... Well, because there was a big to-do about that last year, I think, when Racing Point, it was discovered that they had basically copied McLaren or Mercedes car design. And I mean, now you have to wonder, well, no, because Sebastian Vettel hadn't raced it for Red Bull for a number of years, so it wasn't like he had any secrets that he could tell Aston Martin about the design of the car. If anything, they would have copied Ferrari, but but even by now, whatever designs for the 2022 car, he would have not been able to guess any of that stuff either. So, yeah, well, that's the thing, is when you limit the aerodynamic department to a very strict set of rules, and you can only do these things, yes, the chances that you're going to have a similar design is very likely. Now, you could say, well, but I came up with it on my own, or I looked and said this was the best option. But again, if they look and they say Mercedes is doing well with this design, it makes sense for us to go with this. It's not like it was a secret, I don't think. It was, this within the rules at the time, this is what's allowed and what's not allowed. And so, of course, there's always going to be those teams that are going to find the loopholes within the rules. And then there's going to be teams that are going to look at that and say, well, if they can do that, then we're going to do that. And then that's when all this stuff kind of comes out about the cheating and people's secrets getting out and, all that kind of drama. But I don't know. If Max could win title number 2, I'd be happy with that. If he can stay ahead of Mercedes. I hate to think, though, that Ferrari has imploded already at this part of the season. That's my biggest fear. They started off well, and if now it's just, they have basically lost the narrative, then it's just like how, what is going on there that is causing that to happen. And can Charles at least, or, well, I don't know Carlos came in 4th, I think it was. Can they salvage the season and at least, get back into the fight? I mean, it's not that the season's completely lost, but the more, Charles is now, I think still in 2nd on the championship, but the more he doesn't finish or whatever, then the chances for Red Bull to run away with it they're increasing with each race. Wow, here's a really... This wind is getting us all over the place here. It's like I turn back to the left and then I go right back to the right again. I don't know, I have a bad feeling that they're trying to ensure, well, Hamilton hasn't scored enough points to really he would have to go like on a tear, I think, from here on out for the rest of the season in order to try to get another championship. Because I kind of feel like that's what they really want, is to him to be one above Michael, and then that's when it's all going to fall apart. Then he won't do anything after that. But the fact that he's one above Michael is the goal, I think, for the FIA especially. Yeah, you're right. That's what it should be, but... And I think that's why there's that very limited scope of design now, where, yes, they all, for the most part, they all kind of look the same, with the exception of a few parts that they can decide which one they think is the best option. That's how it was, I think, with an IndyCar years ago. Was if you could pick a power plant, and then you had a very limited choice as far as your aerodynamic kit went, and it would change based on if it was a oval or if it was a road course. And I was looking at the new cars in IndyCar just look like crap. I'm sorry. If you're going to put a windshield, you might as well just enclose the car. Period. That's not what open wheel to me is. You have an open cockpit. I know it's a safety concern, but putting a windshield and all that, it ruins the look of the car. Like if I go back and look at the IndyCar races I went to at Sonoma, yeah, the cars kind of looked the same, but it was open. You had an open cockpit and all that, and the drivers knew that it was their risk to take. That and if you got hit by a tire or whatever, unfortunately that's just part of racing. But when you start enclosing things and all that, it's just like, well, then what's the point? It's not traditional open wheel racing. And again, I understand it's a safety concern and all that, but it looks like yuck. Ugh. I cannot get my head around that kind of car. You might as well just enclose the whole thing, or you might as well just do away with IndyCar racing altogether. Because that's why I think there's more people enjoy historic racing, because that's the design that most fans, that's what they identify with, or that's what they admire the most, is the drivers knew the risk, they got in anyway, and they took their chances, and they understood that's what they were there to do. But yeah, I don't like all this push for safety is ruining the look of the car, I think, because then it's like, well, why are you even there? Why are you even doing this? You might as well just hang it up and not race anymore, or go sports car racing. If you're that worried about safety, you can go sports car racing. But even then, sometimes, things happen that no amount of anything that you can do is going to keep somebody from dying. There's always going to be that one thing that's going to happen, that moment of, well, for lack of a better term, that perfect moment where no matter what you've done to try to ensure the safety of the driver or even the spectators, there's going to be that force that's going to happen that's just beyond what you thought was possible. And then, that's part of life, I think. Because if everybody was afraid of the risk, there wouldn't be, like, Felix Baumgartner wouldn't have jumped from the edge of space and broke the sound barrier with just his body, in a special suit, and it wasn't like a super huge suit. It was, if you look at it, you're like, how did somebody survive that? He understood the risk, and he was willing to take it. If he died trying to do something that nobody thought was possible. There's always inherent risks in most of everything that we do. But if you're always afraid of those risks, that you're worried about the outcome, that you may die, well, then you would never move out of bed, and that's not healthy. You'd be so gripped with fear that you'd just be like, I can't do anything. I can't move. paralyzed with fear. You know? Just like, you know, that you see the interviews with Ayrton Senna on that weekend in Imola, and Carl, you know, they already lost Roland Ratzenberg, and everybody, and I think Sid Watkins had tried to implore him, don't do this, you don't have to race. Yes, I do, I have to, that's what I'm here to do. He knew that there was a risk, and he did it anyway, and unfortunately he lost his life, but he knew if he withdrew, he would have been letting Williams down, he would have been letting a lot of people down. But that was his choice, you know, as unfortunate as it was. But he wasn't going to allow his fear, and a lot of people say there was that fear. He tried to hide it, I think, but he was afraid, and maybe rightfully so, about what was getting ready to happen. But he faced it. All right, we are 40 nautical miles away from Cairo. Oh, Addie's changing up the topic. God bless you, Addies. God bless you. Anyways, well, as always, we always have a variety of topics here while we're flying. Sometimes we have story time. Sometimes we just talk about racing. Get a little heated under the collar when it comes to that. We always have our favorite drivers, our favorite teams, and whatnot. Addie's has his favorite West Ham. I don't talk much about footy because I don't know, and I think you would agree with this, Mick. The Premiership has they've gotten greedy. You know, they've had the influx of money from outside of the UK, new stadiums and gazillion-dollar contracts and stuff like that just kind of, I think, ruined the sport. Just, you know, much the same way the NFL. You know, you got these powerhouse teams, and they, of course, when it's your team, you know, you love it. And when it's not your favorite team, you're just like, I'm tired of it. You know, it sucks. Like, how many more times is Tom Brady going to win a Super Bowl ring? You know, when is enough enough? You know, when does it become you're rubbing the opposition's nose in it, you know, or the fans of other teams in it? But when you have your own Tom Brady, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. I like this feeling. You know. And I'd like, like the Bears, the '85 Bears, they're they I'm sure most people who know that era of the NFL will say that they were arguably, aside from Tom Brady and all his shenanigans, the '85 Bears were like, they were it for many people. There's never going to be probably another team like them. And it was just one player, it was the team. That was the key, I think. Everybody focuses on Tom Brady, but there is a team, but it's always his face. That's his name that gets mentioned, generally, 99.9% of the time. Other than Rob Gronkowski or maybe a few other players, but it's always Tom Brady. Whereas the '85 Bears, it was the whole team that people think about, I think. And that's the difference. When it's the team, then it was a team effort. But when it's just one player on a team, and that one player gets all the press, kind of makes you feel like when you're there contributing, you're like, what am I here for? Why? What do I got to do to? Cubs will win the World Series this time. They could. Well, I don't know. I haven't followed baseball like I used to. I used to really, keep track of who was winning and where the standings were. I don't know. I don't that much anymore. Because there's just more. There's other things to worry about versus that. All right, 30 nautical miles away from Cairo. As always, once we start getting ready to land, we get on final, or just as when I'm starting to circle into or get ready to land into Cairo here, I'm going to turn the laptop to the side so I don't get distracted. If there's any questions or comments, Mick is there. He will let you know what's going on. And so please do listen to his to what he's saying. I appreciate that. He's one of my trusted mods, so just like the other day, somebody was trying to say hi, so I'm not trying to ignore you. It's nothing personal. It's just that I like to try to land this thing right. 27. All right, let's see if we can go ahead and call in for landing. It's Cairo. We're going to go straight on in. All right, real quick, I'm going to take a short break. I'll be right back, folks. Alright, I have returned. So there's 3 runways at Cairo International. We're picking the one to the farthest left. Still pretty good size runway. So if we have to kind of float and bleed off some speed before we touch down, we can do that. Thank you all once again for coming in and hanging out today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the flight. Thank you to Mick. Thank you to Mela for being mods on my channel. Coming in and hanging out for a little while today. Making sure Mr. Addies doesn't get out of line. I'm kidding, Joseph. You know I am. We'll be back tomorrow in the Embraer 110, a regional prop service from Houston to Mobile, Alabama. You join us for that. Should be a nice little flight. I am going to go ahead and turn the laptop to the side here just a bit so I can get ready to put this thing on the ground nice and easy. Get some flaps down so we can start slowing down here. I kind of feel like that's our airport over there. Nope, not yet. That looks almost like an airport. Maybe I was a bit wrong. That looks like an airport over there, but that's not ours. So we gotta let's put our heading bug onto there. All right. Ooh, wow. What is our the altitude of our left is at an altitude of 190 feet. Okay. that. We got to be very close to it. I know that. It's on the other side of this built-up area. The city of Cairo. Oh, there we go. All right, now I see her. So the pyramids are right there, off to the right there. You can barely see the outline of them. There they are. Now I can imagine this area was significantly different back in the 1930s when KLM was flying into here. Certainly was probably not as modern as it is now. So yeah, we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to go right on in, straight into 5 left. So there's downtown Cairo. Oops. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon here in Cairo. We'll kind of check out the modern day Cairo as we come into the airport. I'm sure there wasn't 3 runways either when back in the 1930s. There was probably just one landing strip. And it may, I don't know if it's even where the modern airport is now. It might be where that, there's another airfield right there. Looks like. Can't say I've ever been to Egypt. All right. Turn in here in a moment, and we'll be on the ground in just a bit. All right, here we go. All right, almost lined up. Go. And there we are. On behalf of myself and the entire flight crew, we'd like to welcome you to Cairo, Egypt. Local time is 15:57 in the afternoon. We know and appreciate the fact that you have many options when it comes to your Microsoft Flight Simulator live stream viewing pleasures. And we are glad that you chose to fly with us today. Do join us tomorrow in the Embraer 110 regional prop service going from Houston, Texas to Mobile, Alabama. 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 UTC, 12:30 UK is our expected start time for the stream. There are links to the PayPal and the Discord in the descriptions of both videos. Thank you, Jody. Both streams, I should say, not both videos, but both streams. If you want to kind of keep up to date with the schedule for the week, you will find that over on the Discord, so do join us there. If you'd like to donate to the channel, donations are appreciated but are not necessary. But it's all greatly appreciated. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's flight here to Cairo. I think my co-pilot gave up. Should be like right over here somewhere, I think. Well, I don't see our... Where's our... Oops. Well, we don't even get the... Huh, okay. Don't even know where we're going to go. Well, isn't that just darn dandy? That's when you let out the newest, thank you, Joseph. Let the newest, flight attendant out the door and you'd say, go run ahead and find a parking spot for us. Here's a flashlight. Wave the flashlight when you find a parking spot for us. Thank you, Mick, over on the POS channel. You're okay in my book, Mick. I don't care what Addie says about you. Kidding, Joseph. All right. Well, what if we just for the heck of it? Why not? Just pull into one of these spots right here. How about that? I think that's a good idea. Come on, plane. A little bit farther ahead. Come on. There we go. Takes forever for this thing to get moving, it seems like. That's good enough. Then we can also open the passenger door there. And go sliding down the side there. Okay, folks. You just got to go in here and let's turn our. Well, we don't need to turn the lights off. We just need to turn the batteries off. There's one. There's two. You're always nice to Mick. I know you are, Joseph. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, that's going to be it for today, folks. Do greatly appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out. Thank you for the 9 thumbs up. Hopefully you've all enjoyed this. And that will be it. I will see you all tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 UTC, 12:30 UK in the Embraer 110 Houston to Mobile. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your Monday morning, afternoon, evening, early Tuesday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Yes, I got you good there, Joseph. You're right. Until then, peace, live long and prosper.